something I do, I don't need a crew. It's all on my own and I got something to prove.
Always.
How's it going? How's it going?
So yeah, man. Unionize the hose.
Unionize. So I've heard you say unionize before, but like what benefits do you think will be added in if it's unionized that will be such a benefit to it?
Occupational safety and health standards. The more regulation, the safer. It's a fine line, slippery slope, so to say, of how to regulate and not have government in the bedroom, not have government, necessarily, forcing choices. But I really do think, with more regulation in the porn industry, with more regulation, getting the hose off the street and into a house that's actually a safe, clean house where they have testing, all that stuff. OSHA is government. I understand that it is, but it's occupational safety and health, right? When the women take the right to not have to lick bowls of bloodborne pathogenic material, and be exposed to things that they might be kind of forced to, in an unregulated system. I mean, do I want a union rep on every porn shoot? I don't know, but I mean, that's to be determined, I think. But it does create a situation where we could tax the whole situation a little more, and we wouldn't have gals like Corey Chase that are building $30 million mansions right now, and have gals that are also in the same industry that can barely survive. It's when the woman takes the empowerment and doesn't have the overlords controlling her, that she's her own producer. There's room in that unionization as well for private contracting, for individual contracting, as long as regulations are met and the standards are met, right? Because minimum standards is what gets set by the union. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so so I don't know if you know this, right? But with porn, there is the International Entertainment Adult Union. They actually are
strong enough.
They are involved with OSHA, right?
Yeah.
So, and there's also another union, the the Adult Performance Artist Guild. You've heard of this, probably. Yeah, so these are unions for the porn industry, and you see it doesn't really help very much.
It hasn't. It's done more good than it has harm, I would say. I would say that having no regulation would be better than, or would be worse than some regulation. Some regulation isn't enough regulation.
Yeah, but then so this is the thing right now. They've decided, based off the American standards, that they are regulating it enough, and so the saying that we need to increase regulations on it. I don't know if this is we're talking about a very dirty industry that is.
I would honestly, wholeheartedly, good faith argue that unions always try to get more, right? They don't ever settle. They always try to get more and more better. I would say that unions usually fight for more. That they don't usually settle.
Not for the people.
They only settle when there's a deadlock situation. Right. So,
yeah, the thing is, I worked for a unionized company before. Oh
yeah.
And I there was things that was better about not being unionized, because there was things we would want to fight for, and they would be able to just tell us, yeah, fuck off.
Yeah. I mean, I work a lot in Washington State. Idaho is a right to work state. So, we get some prevailing type situations with the wages, but the safety standards are way less. The actual inspector on site, commercial job, Washington, you're going to have a full-time safety person on site at all times. Washington, yeah, Idaho, not so much. You're going to barely see an OSHA person, but again, I've paid over 40 grand in OSHA fines in Idaho, and we don't have OSHA in Idaho. So it's, it's
That's what I mean. The unions just work for themselves. They don't care about workers.
In general. I mean, the philosophy behind it is that the workers have more control, even though in reality
they don't.
The reps,
because what they do is the companies choose union reps that are gonna do what they want, and that's
right, and simp for money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how they pick their union reps, is the ones that want to do what the bigwigs want. Yeah, so like I feel like
I would concede that, but is that better than nothing?
Not when it comes
to
this
the same
industry.
way.
I think
would more regulation
would be just again, it would be a better outcome for everyone involved.
Yeah, I can't see it though. I mean, we're going to put so much money into the forcing of the regulation, of the forcing of the ban, that that money could be very well used. The drug argument is a great argument as a parody, right? That legalizing drugs, we wouldn't just legalize drugs, right? We would take the money from enforcement, put it in to rehab.
Cutting out.
There we go. Is that better?
Yeah, I hear you now.
We would take the money from the enforcement and transfer it into the education, into the rehab, into the regulations.
Yeah, so you're saying money would come away from the enforcement part and go into these unions, but that's not how it works. We know that. That's not how it works. We don't get to choose. We don't get to choose where our tax money goes.
Well, that's why we have to vote, and that's kind of why we have to come together as a society to realize that things are going to happen whether we want them to or not. And like I said, I'm not for big government, but the more regulation, the more standard, the more minimum standards are raised, right? And when the minimum standards are just abandoned, then they get definitely taken advantage of.
Yeah, that's true, right? I agree they're going to get taken advantage of, but this type of industry, they're going to get taken advantage of to begin with. Think about the type of people that go into porn to begin with, right? These are more vulnerable people with other deep-seated issues usually.
Sure. Yeah, family issues, abandonment issues, childhood.
Yeah, like dudes that like pimp chicks out, they look for vulnerable, weak women because these are the easiest to get to accept this lifestyle.
I would say that unions would maybe eliminate the whole pimping industry if done right.
I doubt it.
And it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen overnight, but it would put the gals in a clean building and not just on the streets. It would bring the Johns to them, and then the Johns would have to be tested as would be tested, and there would be standards of how many, I don't know. I think
actually, you know what? This would actually decrease. I think people would still stick to underground prostitution in those cases because, like, if they had to be tested before they did stuff and they probably wouldn't do it. They wouldn't want it to be on record that they got tested to fuck a hoe. So that
True.
it would decrease their money and then put them back into a situation of doing other things, extreme measures. Again, it would hurt more in the end, financially even.
Mm. I mean, I would definitely concede that it would be, there's either way, no matter which way we go, I would say that there's going to be an underground need. Guys get blue balls, girls get hysteria. I mean, one way or another, people be fucking, man. I mean, we can't, where do we draw the line?
Well, like I've said, it's sexual activity for money. That's where I draw the line. Anything that is sexual activity for money.
Sure. And I didn't see that when this came up, last fall, last summer. I can definitely see that now, that there's when the money is involved, it really is pay for play, right?
Yeah, 100%.
In which case I've had to kind of totally strongman my own argument back a few times on how to really regulate the porn industry, because that's we look at the extremisms and especially when we get into like fecal files and golden showers and stuff, like that's a bloodborne pathogen, bro.
Let me ask you something. Let me ask you something, Fatty.
Yeah.
Are you okay with men like Harvey Weinstein, who told girls, if you suck my dick, you can go into this movie?
No. And have you seen this new kid, this Tomash kid?
Wait, Fatty, wait. I don't want to sidetrack here for a second.
Go ahead.
The reason I'm asking you is because if you're okay with women prostituting themselves, you have to be okay with that. It was a proposition made. The woman took it, and it was a fair deal made. She got put in the movie. Fair deal. You have to be okay with men taking advantage of women for them to be put into music industries, movies, modeling, anything, because the woman is prostituting herself in that situation. So if we're okay with prostitutes, we have to be okay with men like Harvey Weinstein.
I would rather Harvey Weinstein or Jeffrey Epstein be a union rep than a freaking sicko.
Well, what we'd rather is one story, but again, if you're okay with women prostituting themselves, you have to be okay with the Johns that are involved as well.
That's an extreme farism.
No, it's not. It's not. She's prostituting herself. He didn't force her. He said, if you want to be in this movie, suck my dick. And she said, okay. Sucked his dick and got in the movie.
In a union situation, that wouldn't exist.
You know why Katy Perry's famous? You know why Katy Perry's famous? Because she spent a hotel night room with Harvey Weinstein. Yeah, she did it willingly.
Yeah. And if that was a union rep and she had somebody, more reliable that wasn't into, that type of situation.
It doesn't need to be a union rep, though. Even if there was a union rep, like it was a fair trade. It was a trade.
Or a film director, for that matter, that wasn't a sicko. I mean, I'm not down with sickos. I don't think anybody is, and I don't think that we would allow that.
I think all dudes. Wait, this is the thing, Fatty. I think all dudes that pay for sex are sickos.
Sure, I would.
It's literally the same thing. It's prostitution. He paid her to have sex with her. It's the same thing.
He didn't really pay her, though. He held a situation over her head, a profitable situation.
He gave her a position to make millions. He put women in movies that paid them millions.
Sure.
What do you mean? He literally paid. He paid more than the average John is going to pay.
Did he seek her out, or did she
seek out these women lives? He gave these women better lives than any of these Johns that are fucking prostitutes will give them. But like, you have to be okay with this one if you're okay with the other. You have to be. It logically follows.
It doesn't. I mean, it's not.
Yes. Okay, Uncle Fatty. If I go buy a prostitute right now, who do you think has more power in this situation? Me, right? It's the same thing. Because
I
people
see it,
will try to
yeah.
say, well, Harvey Weinstein has a power dynamic. I have a power dynamic over any woman I ever meet in my life from now till I die. Right? So like this
Sure.
isn't a good argument.
But was Harvey, you know, advertising for gals to do this, or were they seeking the fame? Is the thing. It's a backwards dichotomy.
What are women seeking
You know?
when they sell themselves? The money. That's what they were seeking when they seek the fame. They seek the money. Hey, baby, you want to
Sure.
be in a movie? You want to be a famous star? Suck my dick.
And the union
And
director
they
wouldn't
go,
be allowed
okay.
to
Like,
do that. Though.
it's literally saying, hey, I seen your ad. I got $100. Want to come suck my dick? It's the same thing, except that he's paying even more. He's giving her way more better things. You should be this should be the only form. You should say that's the prostitution I want for everyone. Get fucked and be in movies. Yay. Like
That's a backwards dichotomy though, brother. It is, man. It doesn't
no, it's
in the union that guy wouldn't be allowed to exist. I mean, that just wouldn't.
Why wouldn't it be
in a well-regulated union? In a well-regulated union, let me say it that way.
Oh, so you would take control of what the girls are allowed to trade for their sex? You would tell these women what they're allowed to do with their bodies, Uncle Fatty?
Gotcha, bitch.
That's the point of regulation, yeah. I mean, and the guys as well too. You know, we wouldn't allow Johns to do anything that.
So your argument of not.
Not.
So now your argument of not telling women what to do with their body, you have to throw that completely out the window. You have to.
We are telling them
you want to tell women what to do with their body.
No, we are telling them what we can. We are 100%, and the Johns as well.
One of the best videos of all time.
They get into it. I fuck up the mood. They feel it, I kill it. I'm really just spilling the juice out of my shoe. But fuck with the fam, the gunning is something I do. I don't need a crew. It's all on my own, and I got something to prove. I'm on the loose.